Let's read it. Okay, right.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لتقرب السبب الموجب في حق الأصل ولهذا يلزمه حكم الإقامة في الإيمان فإن لم يسجد الإمام لم يسجد لأنه يصير مخالفا لأمره والتزم الأداء والإمام تحته فالمهتم لم يلزم الإمام ولا المهتم الصحيح لأنه لو سجد وحده كان مخالفا لإمامه ولو تابعه الإمام ومنها من القاعدة الأولى ثم تذكر هذا وتشاهد أن ما يخرج من الشيء يأخذه ثم قيل يسجد للسهو بالتأثير لأنه لا يسجد ولو كان إلى
Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. We're discussing the chapter of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We're still discussing the chapter of when a person making salah and you want to compensate for it. Just briefly again, if you left out a wajib, then unintentionally you can compensate for it with a sajda sahwu. If you left out a wajib unintentionally, you can. But if you left out a wajib intentionally, you cannot compensate with the sajda sahwu. You have to repeat it, right? The last discussion we done there was when you read loud, when you're supposed to read soft, or you read soft when you're supposed to read loud, then you also sajda sahwu will become wajib, right? And to what extent? We say you read to the extent which is considered kathir, and kathir is that much which we'll say normally is the farz qiraat in salat. Remember, you get the wajib qiraat and you get the farz qiraat. The wajib qiraat is to read surah Fatiha and a complete surah or at least 3 short ayats. That's the wajib qiraat. The farz qiraat, according to Imam Abu Hanifa, is at least to recite one verse, even if it's a short verse like Thumma Nadhara, that's a verse. According to Sahibain, at least 3 verses, right? So a person is supposed to recite loudly, recite softly, a person recite softly, recite it loudly, right? So the next chapter we're going to discuss now here, or the next masta we're going to discuss is this here, that وَالسَّهْوُ الْإِمَامِ يُوجِبُ عَلَى الْمُؤْتَمِّ السُّجُودَ لِتَقَرُّرِ بِسَبَبِ الْمُوجِبِ فِي حَقِّ الْأَصْلِ. That the mistake of the imam, it makes necessary upon the muqtadi a sajda because of the establishment of the reason which is made necessary with regards to the asl. Okay, before we look at that, remember we discussed this, we told you this several times before, that the imam is like the engine. You know, you got a train, you get the engine, and the muqtadis are like the carriages. The carriages can't go anywhere on their own. The carriages will only go where the engine go. If the engine stalls, all the carriages stall. If the engine stall, all the carriages stall. They can't go anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? So when the salat of the imam becomes batil, for example, he read salah and after that he's discovered, hey, he didn't have wudu. After that he's discovered, then his salah is not valid, then the muqtadi's salah is also not valid, right? So whatever affects the salat of the imam, that will affect the salah of the muqtadis as well. So in the next text, what they're telling you here is, if sajda sahu becomes necessary, sajda sahu becomes necessary upon the imam, he made any one of these mistakes that we discussed here, you know, he left out the wajib unintentionally, or he delayed, or he made loud, he's supposed to make soft, etc., and vice versa, and sajda sahu becomes wajib upon him, then sajda sahu will become wajib upon the muqtadi as well. Are you with me? So see the وَسَهْوُ الْإِمَامِ يُوجِبُ عَلَى الْمُؤْتَمِّ السُّجُودَ. So the mistake of the imam, it will make it necessary عَلَى الْمُؤْتَمِّ upon the muqtadi sujood as well. Why? لِتَقَرُّرُ بِالسَّبَبِ الْمُوجِبِ. Because of the sabab and mujab means the thing that made wajib. You understood that? Because of the establishment of the thing that made it wajib. That was the mistake. What is the thing that made it wajib? It's the mistake. So that means the taqarruri, because of the establishment or because of the finding of the mistake, right? في حق الأصل, in regards to the asal, and the asal is the carriage, like I told you. So because the mistake, like how we say, is found in the carriage, the mistake is found in the carriage, and that affects, or rather the other way around, the mistake is found in the engine, and that affects all the carriages. So same, that's what he's saying. لِتَقَرُّ بِالسَّبَبِ الْمُوجَبِ. So remember, the sabab al-mujab is what? The thing that makes wajib. What is the thing that makes wajib? It's a mistake. So لِتَقَرُّ بِالسَّبَبِ الْمُوجِبِ, because of the finding of the mistake or the existing of the mistake, what regards to the original. You understood there what he's saying? I'll repeat it again. Because the engine is the original. So whatever mistake reflects itself in the engine, it will reflect itself in the carriages. So if the train is going slowly, the engine is going slowly, all the carriages will go slowly, right? If the what you call it, if the engine is going fast, all the carriages will go fast. If the engine comes to a standstill, all the carriages will come to a standstill. So same thing here. If the carriage or the engine crosses a bridge, all the carriages will cross a bridge. So same thing here. If the engine has made a mistake, then that mistake will also manifest itself in all the carriages. So if the imam had made a mistake, that mistake will also manifest itself in all the muqtadeen. That's what he's saying. So look at it. So wasahul imami, the mistake of the imam, yujibu, it makes wajib ala al-mu'tammi, upon the muqtadi, as-sujuda, sajda. Why? Litaqarru bis-sababi al-mujibi. Litaqarru means because of the existence. We can say because of the prevalence. What? Because of the prevalence, as-sababi al-mujibi, of the cause that makes wajib. Yani, the sajda fi haqqil asal, in the right of the asal, the carriage is found in there also. So what is found in the original, it will be found in the carriage. Understood that? وَلِهَذَا يَلْزَمُ حُكْمُ الْإِقَامَةِ بِنِيَّةِ الْإِمَامِ. And they're giving you another example of this to show this. I'll give you, you have to understand the masla. Listen nicely what the masla. See, I'll take you back. If you are musafir, right, and you be your own imam, you don't got no choice. We done this, or you will remember we done this. You have to read 2 rakats, right? But if you are musafir and you read namaz behind the imam, if the imam is musafir, you follow his musafir namaz, right? But if the imam is a muqim, you will have to read 4 rakats namaz, right? Are you with me? So even though you are musafir, you can't say that the imam is a muqim, that you're going to read 2 rakats, after 2 rakats, you're going to make salam, you're going to break your salah. No, I'm a muqim. Or like some people think like this also. If they're reading behind a muqim, right, and they must 2 rakats, they must 2 rakats. So they think, okay, I must 2 rakats. I got the imam for 2 rakats, and I'm only supposed to read 2 rakats, so that 2 rakats is fine. I don't have to stand up and read another 2 rakats. No, no, no. Here you understand. This principle is a broad principle. When you are following an imam, whether he's a musafir or muqim, when you follow him, you have to do exactly as he's doing, right? You have to. So he's a muqim, and you following a muqim's namaz, so your salat is also 4 rakats. So you still have to read that, the extra 2 rakats after that, right? Or not 2 after, but you have to follow him and read 4 rakats, right? You understood it. Now look at this, Maslaya. You are musafir, and the imam was a musafir. The imam was a musafir, and you decided to read namaz behind the musafir. But before the imam completed 4 rakats, before he decided to make iqamat, so in his salah, his intention changed. So now he has to read how many rakats? He has to read now 4 rakats, because he's not a musafir anymore. Now he's a muqim. So he's 4. So originally, when he was a muqim, when he was a musafir, you only had 2 rakats to read. But when he changed to Musafir, like how his intention affect his salat. But because you are the muqtadi of him and your imam is now a muqim, you also have to read 4 rakats. That's what I'm saying. So this shows you that you as a muqtadi, as a mu'tam, your salat is hinged. It is premised upon the salah of the imam. So they're saying, so what he's saying, Sahib is showing you there, like how when the musafir imam's intention changes from safar to iqamat, his salah changes from 2 to 4. You as a muqtadi, if you are reading behind him, your salah will also change. Your salah will also change from 2 to 4. So same thing here. When he made a mistake, even though you didn't make the mistake, but your salat will also change. You will also have to follow him, and you will also have to now, so to say, make the sajdah, because he is the engine, and you are the carriage, and the carriage must follow the engine. You understood that? Carry on.
فإن لم يسجد الإمام لم يسجد المؤتم.
Right. So the next mas'ala, what he's saying is, now we understood this here, that you as a muqtadi, you must follow the imam. You as a muqtadi, you must follow the imam. So maybe the imam made such a mistake where you can see this mistake warranted sajdah sahu. He requires sajdah sahu. And the imam never make the sajdah sahu. The imam never makes the sajdah sahu. So you can't decide on your sajdah sahu that, oh, this sajdah sahu has become necessary upon the imam, and he never makes, so I want to do it. Like certain mistakes he make, you won't know. So that doesn't apply. But certain mistakes you make, you will know. For example, he forgot to make the shout after the first 2 rakats, or maybe he's supposed to read soft but read loud for according to Imam Sahib, 1 ayat, according to Sahibain 3 ayats, or vice versa. So you say, hey, this Imam, he's supposed to make sajdah sahu, but he never makes sajdah sahu. I want to make sajdah sahu on my own. Again, there the principle comes into play that you have to follow your Imam. You have to follow your Imam. You cannot go against your Imam. So saying, فَإِن لَمْ يَجْرِ الْإِمَامُ. So in other words, sajdah was necessary on Imam. You as a muqtadi, you saw it, but he never do the sajdah, right? فَإِن لَمْ يَجْرِ الْمُؤَتَّمُ. The muqtadi can't do his own sajdah. Why? لِأَنَّهُ يَصِيرُ مُخَالِفًا لِإِمَامِهِ. Because then he will become as though he's opposing his Imam. Remember, I told you this other mas'ala, we didn't discuss it before, but we'll discuss it again. Remember when we discussed the issue of with the witr behind a Shafi, or witr behind the Imam of the Haramain Sharifain? Some Arif ulama, they said no, when he makes salam after 2 rakats and he stands up and he makes takbir tahrima, you don't make salam, you just remain in your salah and you just carry on like you're reading 3 rakats salah. So then we said no, this cannot be correct, because you are going against your Imam. When your Imam is making salam, you're supposed to follow him. When he's making, so you cannot say you are a muqtadi of the Imam. You cannot say you are a muqtadi of the Imam. So if you understood this here properly, you will understand that opinion is totally against the Hanafi madhab. Because in the Hanafi madhab, you must follow the Imam under all circumstances. So وَمَا الْتَزَمَ الْأَدَاءَ إِلَّا مُتَابِعًا. So when he made, what he's saying in that ibarat here, that when he said, I want to make iqtida of this Imam, nawaitu iqtida hadha Imam, although you don't have to say it verbally, but when he made intention that I want to be a muqtadi of this Imam, and he joined the Imam, then in essence he's made intention of following the Imam. So it's in keeping with following the Imam, he has to, if the Imam makes the sajdah sahu, he has to make the sajdah sahu. If the Imam doesn't make the sajdah sahu, he can't make on his own, because that goes against the very essence of the intention that he made at the beginning. See there, وَمَا الْتَزَمَ الْأَدَاءَ. He did not make upon himself compulsory ada illa mutabi'an, except that he must follow him. So he has to follow, even though he didn't make the mistake the Imam made, he cannot do. Or even if he make a mistake, he can't do his own sajdah, so because it goes against iqtida as well. You understood it? Read the next one. Yeah. So this is okay. This is similar to what I was telling you. Same thing. That the engine is the main thing. The carriage is only following. The carriages are only following. So when the muqtadi, the mu'attam makes a mistake, right? The mu'attam makes a mistake. That cannot affect the carriage. I mean, cannot affect the engine. The mistake of the muqtadi cannot affect the engine, because the engine is the powerhouse. It is drawing, it is driving the salah. And then so when the muqtadi make a mistake, no sajda sahu on the imam, and also no sajda sahu himself, because if he makes sajda sahu himself, that goes against his iqtida. Is mukhalif to the fact that he's a muqtadi, and he only action which is valid is that which he must do on his own. See there. فَإِنْ سَهَلْ مُؤْتَمُّ, if the mu'attam made a mistake, لم يلزم الإمام ولا المؤتم السجود. Sajda will not be compulsory on not the imam and not the muqtadi. Why? Because I gave you the reasoning here. لأنه لو سجد وحده كان مخالفا لإمامه. If he goes and makes sajda alone, he will be contradicting his imam. وحده كان مخالف لإمامه. ولو تابع الإمام, but if and when he made a mistake and you expect the imam must follow him, then ولو تابع الإمام, the imam follows him, ينقلب الأصل تبعا. The imam is original, he's the engine. So how can you make it now the carriage must pull the engine? Doesn't make sense. So how can the muqtadi now make sajda for the, or rather the imam make sajda for the mistake of the imam? Sorry, why must the imam make? So how can the imam make sajda for the mistake of the muqtadi? Right, carry on.
الأولى ثم تذكر وهو إلى عاد وخرج وتشهد لأن ما يكون شيء يدخل ثم قيل يسجد للسهو بالتأخير والأخر.
Right. I explained this masala to you before already, and I told you that, say for instance, you're reading a 4 rakat namaz, right? Or you're even reading a 3 rakat namaz. Now we know after every shufa, after every 2 rakats, you must stand up. You must stand up, isn't it? So now, after every 2 rakats, you must sit and make the shahud. So now this person, whether it's a 4 rakat namaz or whether it's a 3 rakat namaz, after the first 2 rakats, you must sit after the first shufa. So what this person done, he stood up. Now here he's saying, if you are closer to sitting, come back and sit, and no penalty, because you are closer to sitting, and we say للأكثر حكم الكل, when the majority of something is found, as we say all is found. I told you, if out of 7 children in this madrasa, 4 are married, we say the whole madrasa is married. But if 4 are sane, we say all, or the whole madrasa is sane. So since you are closer to sitting, we say as though you are sitting all the time. Since because you are sitting, we will say you are sitting all the time. So nothing, no penalty. But if you stood up, if you are closer to standing, because you are close to standing, we say you stood up. You say you stood up. And then I explained you this here. If you look at qiyam, qiyam is faraz. So you went into qiyam, which is faraz, right? And tashahud is wajib. Tashahud is wajib. So we say, since you left out a wajib and you went into a faraz, don't contaminate that faraz, or don't compromise faraz. Let the faraz go ahead. We've got a way to cover that wajib, and we'll cover that wajib with a sajda sahu. So I'll repeat it. This is a very important masla, and this is a very relevant masla. It is for the imam, it is for a woman reading salah at home, it is for you reading your sunnats, or you reading your faraz on your own. Under all circumstances, this masla is applicable. Under all circumstances, it is applicable. So if you forgot to sit after your first shufa, you stood up. If you are closer to sitting, go back, sit, read no sajda, nothing, because you are closer to sitting. We say you never entered another rukn as yet. But if you are closer to standing, you say since you are close to standing, as though you stood. And if you stood, that means you left out a wajib and you went to a faraz. And because you are left out a wajib and faraz, we won't bring you back from that faraz to the wajib. Similar to, I explained this several times, similar to the witr. If a person, and this also applies to women at home, to anybody, you are reading your witr namaz at home, and you forgot about the qunut and you went into ruku, whether you remember yourself or whether somebody called you back, it's not necessary to call him back, because ruku is faraz. You went in the faraz, so why break the faraz? Why jeopardize the faraz? Why taint the faraz to fulfill a wajib? Leave him, let him finish, or leave yourself, finish the witr, and then you just make the 2 rakats after that. You understood? So this is similar. See, وَمَنْ سَهَى عَنِ الْقَعْدَةِ الْأُولَى. That person who forgot to sit in the first qa'dah, that is after 2 rakats, ثُمَّ يَذْكُرْ, but he remembers, وَهُوَ إِلَى حَالَةِ الْقُعُودِ أَقْرَبُ. Then he is towards sitting closer. He's sitting closer. عَادَ وَقَعَدَ وَتَشَهَدَ. He will return and he will just sit وَتَشَهَدَ and make tashahud. لأن ما يقرب من الشيء يأخذ حكمه. That thing which you are closer to it, you will assume that hukam. If you are closer to sane than being mad, we'll say you are a sane person. But if you are closer to being mad, or you're not fully mad, but you are closer to mad, we say you are mad. You understand what I'm saying? So you are closer to sitting, so we say no, as though you're all the time sitting, as though. But if you are closer to standing, we say you stood. And because you stood now, we say carry on with the standing. And once you carry on with the standing, you left out the wajib. So it was unintentional. So you will compensate for that with a tashahud, right? لأن ما يقرب من الشيء يأخذ حكمه. ثم قيل يسجد للسهو للتأخير. So if you, right, it is said, so لأن ما يقرب من الشيء يأخذ حكمه ثم قيل يسجد للسهو للتأخير. So there is opinion so the thing is that you don't have to make such a sahu. You don't have to make such because you are closer to sitting, and as though you never, as though you kama is like when you don't stand up, you don't have to make such a sahu. So you are closer to sajda. They were also standing, so there was no real ta'khir. It was a slight ta'khir, but it was an insignificant ta'khir. Yes, we'll say it's ta'khir when you stood up completely. Then it's ta'khir, right? ولو كان القيام أقرب لم يعد. And I explained this to you. But if you are closer to standing, then we'll say carry on. So this is also for a woman reading the Namaz by herself, alone. She's closer by standing. Don't go back down. Or even you are muqtadi in a masjid and you see the Imam stood up completely now, right? Don't call him back. Leave him. Leave him. And then, inshallah, if he's smart, he'll realize, okay, I must start the show and I have to just make such a show. But if you don't know the masla, then you just guide him through. You see, maybe if he, after the 3rd rakat, now he thinks it was his 2nd rakat, you say, subhanallah, then he'll go up. And then after he makes the salam, you will, if you make the sajda, so if you don't, you just give him subhanallah, you must make it right. So والأصح أنه لا يجوز كما إذا لم يكن ولو كان القيام أقرب لم يعيد. He was closer to saying on the right. لأنه كالقائم معنى. So even though he's not physically standing, but because he's closer to standing, معنى, that means like it will be understood that he's already standing, so he must continue, right? ويسجد للسهو, and then he will make sajda للسهو, like because now he left out the tashahud, it was wajib unintentionally, لأنه ترك الواجب, because he left a wajib. Okay, the next masla is quite an interesting and very also relevant masla where you are reading a 4 rakats, whether it was sunnah or you were reading a farz, whatever, and you went to go for a 5th rakat, you forgot, you thought you were reading, you thought you finished 2 rakats, but in fact you finished 4 rakats, and then afterwards you realize, no, this is only, I finished my 4 rakats, what you should do. But that one we will discuss tomorrow, inshallah. But subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdihi.